What's going on, folks? We're here with the Attitude Podcast, episode number 3, our first Monday Night Raw show review, and it was actually a pretty good show tonight. The show flowed very well. We had a nice main event. We had a tag team championship change hands, I believe is the correct term. We had some good action, not too much talking, a lot more action tonight. Some things didn't make sense, but overall, I have to say it's a pretty solid Monday Night Raw. A lot better than Monday Night Raw has been the past couple weeks. Not too much wild card stuff in there. Not too much unnecessary filler. Everything felt like it belonged, and the 3 hours actually kind of flew by for once. You guys will see exactly what I'm talking about. But this channel is going to be revamped. It's brand new. I ordered the channel art and logo, which should be to me by tomorrow, as well as the intro, so you guys will be seeing a nice solid channel, hopefully to build a fan base here on YouTube. But we're going to get started. Monday Night Raw emulated from San Jose, California. We kick things off with the Beast Slayer, Seth Rollins, the Universal Champion, who defeated Baron Corbin at Super Showdown in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. If you guys did not see that review, go back to the channel archive. It's in my channel. It's the first video I ever uploaded about the show. So Seth comes out, and he starts with some arrogance, actually. He says that no one can beat him or lace up his boots. He then says it can try the hard way, but since Seth has a chair, he feels very powerful. That obviously the chair being reminiscent of the beatdown that he gave to Brock Lesnar when Lesnar tried to cash in his Money in the Bank contract on Seth in Saudi Arabia at Super Showdown. He says to ask Brock Lesnar how it feels. He says Brock has been here since 2002 and no one has ever done to him what Seth did to him at Super Showdown. There's been a couple times. Baron Corbin then comes out. I love Corbin as a heel promo. He's a very, very good heel promo. He just draws heat from the crowd. They just have a hatred for him, and he's perfect in that role. I just hate his ring gear right now. He comes out. He says that Seth is talking about Brock again. Corbin claims to be willing to wait for the crowd to finish booing him again, but then he starts talking again to some more boos. Seth continues to talk about Brock, but he should be worried about Corbin. Corbin will then worry about Lesnar because after Stomping Grounds, the newest pay-per-view for WWE that will be in 2 weeks, he will be the new champion. Seth laughs it off, wondering how this arrogance worked in Saudi. Corbin says Seth didn't beat him. It was the incompetent referee, a la John Cone. But as his time as acting general manager, he learned a few things. Today, he said he put those things into use. He says he has been in meetings all day with executives. I'm pretty sure we only have like 4 of those: Vince, Triple H, Stephanie, and Shane. But whatever. And that John Cone will be punished, and also he gets his rematch at Stomping Grounds. Okay, a little bit of continuity issue here. If you're gonna punish John Cone, why is he the referee in your main event of Monday Night Raw the same night? We'll get into that, but just a little thing that kind of bothered me. He says that one more detail, there will be a special guest referee, and Corbin gets to handpick the special guest referee. Seth says, to Corbin to pick whoever he wants. He's still going to stomp Corbin's head into the mat. And Seth was wondering who would be Corbin's special guest ref. Corbin doesn't have any friends, and the people in San Jose definitely doesn't like him. Sami Zayn, who I have been loving since he has returned, his music hits. And this is when things pick up. He tells Seth to wait a minute. He is apparently now he says he is thought he would never say this, but he is on Baron Corbin's side. Sammy says that he knows Seth and he cares about him as a person, and he knows that being Universal Champion is not good for Seth. He's caught up in a repetitive cycle with Brock Lesnar, and it's a swirl of toxic masculinity. As someone who means well, Sammy thinks it would be better for him if Baron Corbin was champion. I wouldn't actually mind seeing Baron Corbin as Universal Champion, just to piss off the fans. If Corbin was champion, at least then we may finally have a champion who is not obsessed with Brock Lesnar. Seth says Sammy he says the champ that's not obsessed with Brock Lesnar. Seth has been the only Universal Champion that is obsessed with Brock Lesnar. On the Raw side, Kevin Owens wasn't obsessed. Finn Balor couldn't have been obsessed. He was champion from one day. Goldberg, well, yeah, Goldberg was. What? You guys get the point. He says Corbin being champ would be better for Raw, better for all of us if Corbin was champ. At least, I already said that. Sorry, God, I'm messing up here. Seth says Sammy isn't fooling anyone. He said, is there really nothing in it for Sammy? And Sammy claims that Corbin understands how this cesspool works. He understands that if someone were to help him out, he'd probably return the favor. Seth wonders who will help Sammy when he comes down there to smack the taste out of his mouth. Out comes Kevin Owens from SmackDown Live, a part of the WILDCARD rule. He says that he's got Sammy's back through and through, and he agrees that Corbin should be champion. What he doesn't agree with is the way that Seth is talking to Sami Zayn. Seth says these three morons that they are melting Seth's brain. He offers for Kevin to come down and do something about it. Owens questions the meaning of the wildcard rule, which is probably the best line of the whole entire night. Then considers taking Seth up on his offer, and Seth says, let's do a main event, Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Now that gives you a reason to watch the show. Have more matches like that for your main event, and boom, you got a good show every week. Backstage, we see Lars Sullivan preparing for his match against Lucha House Party, hopefully for the last time. And we got that next up after a commercial. Lars versus Lars Sullivan in a 3-on-1 handicap elimination match, I believe, against Lucha House Party. Lars attacked before the bell. Kalisto gets pinned after a power slam off the corner. Lince Dorado is next, swinging a kick into the ring. Then a high kick followed by a springboard Hurricane Rana attempt, but Lars pulls him up and hits a running power bomb, pin for the 3 counts. Grand Metalik goes for a springboard, hops over Lars, kicks the legs, whips but can't. Lars sends him into the ropes, springboard. Lars moves, catches Metalik off a springboard. God, Grand Metalik deserves so much better than this. I was really thinking about every time I see Metalik with Lucha House Party, I really think he deserves so much better than this. If you guys know what I'm talking about, if you didn't see the Cruiserweight Classic, what was that, back in 2016? Go watch it. He's truly the king of the ropes. If anything, I would love to see Lars back in CMLL. Well, not Lars, Metalik, sorry. Oof, botched that one. And he drops him hard for a pin for a 2 count. Lars stops the pin. He's not done. Lars leaves the ring and grabs Kalisto. He presses him up and tosses him onto the steps back first. He heads back in the ring. And this spot here was very, very nasty. He took Kalisto and threw him onto the stairs back first and crushed a pinata on the steps. It was actually pretty cool. He heads back in the ring, locks Metalik up for a rock bottom like move, hits it in a pin for 2. Lars still not done. He slides under the ropes, grabs Lince and hits a knee. He presses Lince up and lawn darts him into the ring post. It was nasty. Lince landed on the back of his neck, a la Kota Ibushi. Lars goes to the top, back in the ring, back up to the top rope. He dives, drops a headbutt on the Metalik for the 1-2-3. Lars Sullivan wins. Hopefully the storyline is over. Hopefully he can get maybe after Stomping Grounds, because they don't know how to build a match in 2 weeks. Maybe after Stomping Grounds you could have anybody, I don't know. Backstage, Truth and Carmella are running with many superstars trying to pursue the 24/7 championship. They stop near an elevator and Truth stops them. They all wait for the elevator to open. The faces get in, all the baby faces get in with Truth, and all the heels are stopped by the door. We get elevator security footage where EC3 is laughing with that same red Solo cup from a couple weeks ago because the elevator has stopped. Heath is worried about his kids and being hot. Truth argues about being stuck, and apparently no pin can happen on the elevator because a ref was unable to enter the elevator. Crazy, right? These segments are actually pretty funny. They're better to me on like the YouTube because like there's like random stuff in the world happening, like the golf cart and the plane. But oh god, I actually like the idea of this championship. We get a backstage interview with Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans. It was supposed to be a Michael Cole interview, but Cole just asked them one question and they went on about it for about 5 minutes and that was it. We get a split screen and Cole asks, he says he wants to start Becky by asking her, never mind. Lacey wants to go first because she's a lady unless chivalry is dead. Becky wants to talk about Lacey already tapping out. Once again, why is this match happening? Whatever. For a woman like her to talk so much yet says so little, this fact is never brought up. Wow, look at that storyline continuity. Wins and losses matter. Speaking of facts, Lacey should beat her. She's bigger, stronger, etc. But Becky can't allow her to win because she can't allow someone like her to be the champ. Lacey claims she has done what's needed to do exactly what was needed. Becky says dirt and gold are found in the same place, but this doesn't make them equal. I like that line right there. Becky says being the champion is her obsession, and Lacey is a threat she has to overcome, but Becky is relentless. Lacey mockingly surrenders, but she is unfooled. All this bravado is just a mess because deep down what drives her is fear. Lacey says she can smell it on her. She reeks and it's nasty. At Stomping Grounds, that fear will become true because she will take the title. Lacey says she's done with this interview. Becky says that's okay, and she'll slap the head off of her. That's it. I actually like that segment. I really did. I really did. Hopefully Becky retains. It's too early to pull the trigger. Backstage, Alexa is talking to Nikki Cross about her match tonight, and how she is tagging with Lacey Evans. I'm not really sure how I feel about this tandem with Nikki and Alexa, but I'm gonna give it a chance. I feel like I've been too down on WWE lately. I need to give them see how things pan out. She apologizes for the match, but she also can't believe Bayley is doing that again. And Nikki's like, "What do you mean?" She says she's a master. Bayley's a master manipulator. She's not really the hometown girl. She says Bayley was awful to Alexa in NXT and treated Alexa horribly by making her feel so alienated. Alexa says that with Nikki Cross, she can just be herself, and Nikki says it's okay. She knows what it's like to be on the outside looking in. God, put Nikki back with sanity. Ugh. Alexa asks if she'll be in her corner, and Nikki says yes. Next up, after a commercial break, it's time for Miz TV. Samoa Joe is guest, and I really like this segment, guys. I'm going to talk about it more in depth. And he brings up how he won the U.S. Championship back. Miz questions this, then wants to look at the big win on the Titantron. We see the relinquishing of the title and the beatdown that followed. Miz says Ray was honest, heartfelt, and a gentleman. Yet Joe still felt like putting on the clutch. Joe says, yeah, so? I love Samoa Joe. Miz speaks as a father and says that involving another man's family is a line you don't cross unless you want to be called out. Joe tells Miz that those lines belong to Miz, and when it comes to getting what he wants, there's no such thing as too far. He was coming out here to discuss challengers, but if he wants to talk about crossing lines, then maybe Joe should be talking about Miz's family. Out comes Braun Strowman, and something I've been waiting for with these two. First thing I liked, remember Strowman and Joe had a little run-in during the Superstar Shakeup week. Yep, that happened. Strowman came out. I was like, wow, I like that. I like that idea. Strowman tells Joe to shut his mouth and get these hands. Out comes Bobby Lashley, who says he's not done with Braun Strowman. I really, really, really wish he was. He says he's not done with Strowman and that he has a history with Samoa Joe, a la TNA, and he deserves a title shot. Ricochet comes out and says everyone is always arguing about bigger and stronger, but he wants to step up and win his first championship. Out comes Cesaro. Cesaro cuts him off, and instead of saying any word, he goes to act like he's going to say a word, and then he clocks Ricochet over the head with the microphone. In the ring, Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley start to fight, while Miz and Joe go at it. The faces knock the heels at the ring. Obviously, you know what this is leading to. We come back from the commercial break, and we have a 6-man tag team match. Braun and Lashley do some cool stuff before Miz gets tagged in. Clothesline to the corner. Braun hits a splash. Miz with a running knee. He locks the arm and goes for the signature neck breaker. But Lashley shoves him. Boot from Miz. Cesaro distracts him. Joe clotheslines Miz. Lashley sends Miz into the corner. Tag to Joe. He hits some right hands in the corner. Joe with the headbutt. Tags Cesaro. He comes in with a chin lock. Miz elbows out of it. Miz misses a back suplex, and Ricochet gets tagged in. He slides under the ropes, trips up Lashley, kicks Joe, hits a right hand to Cesaro, sends him into the turnbuckle, and then kicks it into his face. Ricochet flies off the corner to Cesaro, flying crossbody to Lashley. Cesaro presses him. Ricochet lands on his feet and hits the ropes. He flies all over Cesaro and head scissors to the outside. He hits the ropes, flips over onto Cesaro. The heels go to attack, but the faces are there to stop it before the break. We return, and Lashley and Cesaro are double teaming Ricochet. Cesaro with a side headlock on a Ricochet. Ricochet escapes. Cesaro shoves him. Ricochet up on the shoulders and turns this into a flip and a pin for 2. Cesaro with an uppercut. Tag to Lashley, who grabs Ricochet on the outside. He sends him into the barricade back first. Lashley lifts him by the head and sends him to the ring. Whip to the corner. Lashley runs and sidesteps a boot. He catches the leg, gets kicked in the head, and Ricochet with the drop kick. Lashley is up. Tag to Miz. Springboard axe handle and a right to Cesaro. Rights to Lashley. It kicks in the corner. Miz hits the corner with double knees. Hits the corner. Runs with knees. Goes for a trifecta and hits the clothesline. Kick to Joe. Slides under Lashley. Lashley catches him and sends him into the corner. Lashley hits the corner. Miz moves. Kick DDT. Kick to Cesaro. DDT to Cesaro. Both men down. They get to their knees. It kicks to both men. Lashley is able to dodge a kick and hit pay dirt. Tag to Joe. Joe is in and sends Braun off the corner. Senton to Miz. Cover for 2. Braun stops it. Tag to Cesaro. Cesaro in to lift Miz by the mouth. Jawbreaker, and Miz goes for a tag. But Lashley pulls Braun down off the apron. Braun sends him into the barricade, and Cesaro shoots the leg and goes for a spin. He starts it and gets like 20 for the swing at least. That's what I meant to say. He gets 20 rotation. Cesaro lets go and then immediately goes for the sharpshooter. In comes Ricochet, who gets a code breaker to the face. Braun is on the apron. Ricochet rolled out. Miz reaches for a tag. Cesaro reaches. Tag to Braun. He trucks Cesaro down. Another splash in the corner. Cesaro to the outside. Braun leaves 2 and just trucks through with Cesaro. He sends him back in the ring. Cesaro in the corner. Another splash. Huge right to the chest. Cover for 2. Nope. Joe attacks. He gets the ropes. Runs into a chokeslam attempt, but Braun lifts him. Joe lands on his feet and runs to the outside. He grabs his title and he is gone. Tag to Miz. Braun leaves the ring to chase after Joe, but Lashley's there to hit him with a nasty spear. Ricochet hits the ropes. He flies over the rope with a spring push from Miz, which was amazing. Lashley was seemingly supposed to catch him, but he didn't. Cesaro goes for a neutralizer in the middle of the ring. Miz floats out. Skull crushing finale. Tag to Ricochet, who hits a 630 for the 3 count. The babyfaces get the win. An idea I thought maybe happen tonight, could maybe have next week, have a fatal 5-way number 1 contender match, or even a 6-pack challenge for the U.S. Championship at Stomping Grounds. All I gotta say is, though, I love the idea of the U.S. Championship meaning more. I'm all for it. That's a championship I grew up on liking. I was a big SmackDown fan growing up as a kid, so it was always a SmackDown championship, so that's always something cool to see. Backstage, we got Baron Corbin. Charlie wants to know how he feels about Stomping Grounds. I know. Corbin says he's chilling and wants to cut some interviews in the future with someone that's fair, unbiased, respected, so not Charlie Caruso. Sammy comes in to tell him he's got something to talk about, and they just start, they cut out the audio, I guess presumably they're talking about something we'll find out later. Next up, we got Bayley and Becky. Bayley is there per the wildcard rule. This makes sense. It's San Jose, Bayley's hometown. I expected this. Versus Lacey Evans and Bayley's opponent at Stomping Grounds, Alexa Bliss. So basically champs versus challengers. Bayley immediately gets Alexa in the corner with a bunch of rights, sliding forearm and a pin for 2. Bayley goes for a suplex, but Alexa escapes. She swings her by the arm and down to the mat. Cover for 1, no. Alexa with a kick, tag to Lacey, and she hits a springboard type elbow. Cover for 2, no. Lacey works the arm and sends Bayley down and then covers for 2, nope. Bayley backs her into the corner, tag to Becky. Lacey backs up, Becky with a knee, right, another one. Whip and Irish whip, and Becky hits the corner. Looks to bounce off, but Lacey kicks her in the stomach. Tag to Bliss, and they send her down hard. Pin attempt, but Becky floats out of it and kicks right in the corner. Back exploder to Alexa, nope. Lacey grabs the foot of Alexa and drags her out. Bayley to the outside. She runs, slides to the bottom ropes, and it didn't look good, but you guys know the dropkick move she was doing. But the Becky with the right to Alexa as we get a commercial break. I hate commercial breaks. I really hate commercial breaks. I've been watching New Japan a lot this week, so commercial breaks just don't make sense to me. Back from the break, and Lacey has Becky locked up from behind. She rolls on top and hits a few rights. Lacey with the lock up from behind, and she works the chin of Becky. Becky tosses her away, then hits the corner face first. Lacey uses the ropes to jump up and swing with a Bronco Buster. Cover for 2, no. She knocks Bayley off the apron. Kick from Lacey. She goes for a body slam, but Becky escapes. Sends her to the outside and hits a baseball slide to Evans on the outside. Alexa enters, so Becky sends her right out outside. Bayley hits a right hand. I'm sorry if I'm messing up with the words. The transcript I got from 411 Mania, it was a live coverage, so like a lot of these words are misspelled. Becky goes for a tag, but Lacey is back in to send Becky into the corner. Stomps in the corner by Lacey. Kick from Becky. Becky with the back elbow. Becky reaches for a tag. Kick from Lacey. Swinging neck breaker and a pin for 2. She drags Becky to the corner. Lacey goes for her moonsault, but Becky rolls out of the way. Becky reaches for a tag. She gets it. The crowd is fired up at this point. Tag to Alexa. Bayley shoots the hip. Sends her to the corner. Kicks to Alexa over and over. Running into the face. Becky with a sunset flip power bomb in the corner for 2. Love that spot. Lacey is in to stop the pin. Becky on the outside she runs, but Nikki Cross stops her. Women's right to Becky. Bayley goes for a cover in the ring, but Alexa kicks her away and onto the ropes. Women's right to Bayley from the outside. Alexa hits her with the Twisted Bliss. Lacey gets a tag. Bayley with the knees up. Lacey is in. Women's right pin for 1, 2, 3. Lacey Evans pins the champ. I like Lacey getting the win, but why are you having your champions pinned on TV? Not making sense. Not making sense at all. Backstage, Sammy talking to Shane McMahon. A little history there, you guys know. Sammy's heel turn started with Shane McMahon. Sammy wants to audition for the guest ref spot at Stomping Grounds. He asks Shane for this opportunity. Shane has an idea, and tonight we'll see Sami Zayn being an outside referee. We go to a commercial break, and we come back, and Paul Heyman is in the ring. Heyman is there to express that Brock's lust for the suffering of Seth Rollins is what motivates him. He brings up the beating of Brock at Super Showdown and how unfair it was. He says this is a champion that the crowd cheers for. He says Rollins isn't worthy and is a stupid thug. Because in beating Brock, he has guaranteed that Brock continues to be Mr. Money in the Bank. He also says that he's not insinuating that Brock is here in San Jose, but he's also not insinuating that he is not in San Jose, or that Brock will show up when Seth is in any of the future locations. He isn't even insinuating that Brock might not be the ref at Stomping Grounds. He also won't guess that Brock will wait till Seth is at his most vulnerable or give him the beatdown that violates the PG era of the WWE. This is a threat, a promise, a guarantee from Brock Lesnar. That was the message. Same promo as usual. Truth has a nonsensical conversation in the elevator where he calls Drake Maverick Hornswoggle. I actually like that. All the while, EC3 laughs and laughs. And yeah, they went back to this a lot during the night. The Iconics are here. Wow, your tag team champions are finally on TV. They are now the longest reigning women's tag champs. They have scoured the world for the talent. And obviously, they had 2 jobbers from San Jose. Billy Kay with a kick to one of the jobbers, and then a few more for fun. Tag to Peyton. Billy sends jobber number 2 into a kick to the face. They pose above the jobber. Peyton grabs the hair of the jobber, but she fires back with the right hand. She hits the ropes, but Peyton is right behind to hit a knee. Then a few more over and over. Tag to Billy Kay, who comes in with lockup from behind. Peyton with a knee to the head. Cover for Billy Kay. 1, 2, 3. The Iconics win. give them challengers, hopefully the Kabuki Warriors. Next up, we got the Shane McMahon celebration, which actually wasn't interrupted. I was expecting Roman Reigns interruption. Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon are out. There were some. Drew had his bagpipe entrance for tonight. I guess that was like to amped up at the celebration. Didn't mind it. Haven't seen this since NXT. Shane says that growing up in the WWE, one sees a lot of amazing things, and when you see something special come along, you gotta notice. He says Roman Reigns is something special. Reigns is a future WWE Hall of Famer, guys. You can't argue with that. That was actually facts right there. The crowd doesn't seem to argue. As a competitor, Shane's hat is off to him. He hits like a mule. Look at the accolades. Look at what he has done. Win the Royal Rumble, main eventing multiple WrestleManias, multiple time champion, and holds victories over The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. But he does not hold a victory over Shane McMahon. In fact, it's the opposite. Shane has a victory over Reigns. Shane is very proud of himself. He says that Reigns should not be ashamed. He gave Shane his best, I'm sure, but his best wasn't good enough to beat the best in the world. He says, let's give it up for Drew McIntyre. He helped Shane prepare. They watched the footage. He says the emotional support he gave Shane was part of why he was able to defeat Roman Reigns. Drew appreciates the appreciation, but he is trying to maintain his composure. He wishes that this was anywhere but San Jose, but they won't ruin the celebration. Reigns is the measuring stick in the WWE. When he loses, it turns heads, and that's exactly what happened on Friday at Stomping Grounds, though. He won't just beat Reigns, he will hurt him. Drew is the most dangerous. He owes Reigns, and he will physically assault him until he is unrecognizable. Then he will beat him 1, 2, 3, in the words of Drew McIntyre. Shane calls him so intense, but this is what he digs about Drew. Shane wants to open up a little bit of champagne. Shane pours a couple of glasses. This is actually pretty funny here. Shane then decides to pour the champagne to the trophy, the Best in the World trophy. He sips a little bit. It's kind of funny. Shane says he can be there all night, but the show must go on. Next is two individuals that can join their party tonight as new tag team champions, The Revival. At least the Revival are doing something. They have a prominent role on TV. Before the Revival can enjoy their champagne, Shane stops them, saying they have a title match up next for the titles. They can't be drinking. If they win, then they are invited to come to the party, but only if they bring some gold. So we got the Triple Threat Tag Team Championship match I actually liked. Ryder and Hawkins, the Major Bros, versus the Usos versus the Revival. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. Ryder and Dawson to start. Kick from Dawson. Right hand and a chop to Ryder in the corner. Tag to Dash, who comes in and they double team Ryder but eat knees. Ryder with a drop kick to Dawson. Usos attack the Revival. And Jay Uso gets a tag. They send the Revival to the outside. Jay locks up with Ryder. Jay goes for the arm, works the left one. Ryder rolls out of it and reverses. Back elbow from Jay, hits the rope, single flapjack for a pin. 1, no. Tag to Hawkins. They double team Jay and cover for 2, no. Hawkins works the left arm, whips to the ropes. Dawson with a blind tag. Hawkins tumbles to the outside. Clothesline to Hawkins from Scott. They send Jay into the barricade. Then Hawkins. We go to a commercial break. Whoop-de-doo. Back from the commercial break, and Dawson is in the ring with Hawkins. Tag to Dash, and he knocks Ryder off of the apron. He fireman carries Hawkins over and tags in Dawson. They go for an assisted suplex, but Hawkins lands on his feet and tags in Jimmy Uso, who sends both members of the Revival over the top rope to the outside. He then suicide dives both of them. Jimmy sends Dawson back in the ring, cover for 2, no. Right hand to the face. Jimmy ducks Samoan drop for 2, no. Jimmy runs right into a right hand. Tag from Hawkins. Ryder drags Dawson to the outside. Tag after an enziguri to Ryder blockbuster and a cover for 2. Ryder wants to rough Ryder Jimmy up, and Ryder goes for it. Jimmy shoves him up and over. Tag from Jay, elbow to Ryder. Ryder with the Rough Ryder super kick, 1 to Hawkins, 1 to Wilder. Ryder is up, and he turns into a super kick. Jay up to the top rope, but as soon as he started going for the splash, Dawson tags himself in. He gets the splash. Dawson comes in, steals a pin. The Revival are 2-time tag team champions. Hopefully they'll actually do something with it this time, but I love it. I love the idea. Seth Rollins is backstage preparing for his match, his main event match tonight against Kevin Owens. Charlie comes up and Seth calls her Chuck. He says he's always ready. He was ready for Brock at Super Showdown, and he is ready for him anytime. He's ready for Corbin, Sammy, and Kevin. Firefly Funhouse is next. But when we come back, we go back to the elevator with the 24/7 championship, and EC3 has been married. He says he's been married 5 times. It appears that Drake Maverick is nervous about his upcoming wedding. True says they have a lot in common, calls Drake Hornswoggle again before leading everyone into a "We Are a Family" song. The doors finally open, the heels are still there. Truth and friends fight out of the elevator. Someone tries to roll Truth up, I believe Cedric Alexander. Carmella drags him back to the elevator, leaving everyone to be angry, and this was a huge miss for the 24/7 championship because no one got it. I loved it. I loved it tonight. We got the Firefly Funhouse. Wyatt is hanging up a sign on the door that reads, "Abandon all hope, yay, who exit here?" Mercy is by the TV trying to eat the rabbit again. Wyatt is flabbergasted. The rabbit has a fly swatter. Wyatt threatens the fiend. Wyatt wants to let fate decide. He holds his head as his eyes go back and forth. He tells the rabbit that it's his lucky day, and the floor is his. The rabbit has a PSA about eating friends. He doesn't feel safe and wants to expose what's really going on. Wyatt turns and has a red nose on and lines going up and down across his eyes. He has a hammer and then smashes the rabbit a few times with it. He then asks the rambling rabbit if he's okay. He lifts the puppet up and tastes his puppet blood. It's delicious. This reminds him. We got a word from their sponsors, and it's Rambling Rabbit's juices in a jar. And he reminds us that we have to let him in. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Seth heads out for the main event. We get a commercial, and Kevin Owens is out next. Sami Zayn comes out with a referee shirt. He's having so much fun right now. He comes out to talk to John Cone, the main ref. It was funny. Sami has to check Seth Rollins. Some wrestling companies, they check the wrestlers for knives and stuff like that. It was pretty funny. The match starts. Go behind from Owens. Seth works the left arm, spins into it, then gets an arm lock. Owens holds the ropes. Ref counts. Sami takes offense to the length of time the ref allows. Owens shoots for the legs, but Seth stops him. Owens works the hard arm. Seth drops to his knee. Owens works the hold on the arm. Seth is able to flip out of it, hit a snap mirror roller for a crucifix pin for 2. Sami distracts and Seth rolls up for a pin, but the ref doesn't get into it in time. And this is when the match gets interesting. Owens attacks from behind. Owens kicks then stomps in the corner. Sami's on the apron again and yells at Seth, distracting him. Seth runs and swings through the ropes to kick Owens. He leaves the ring, but Sami is there to stop him. He needs to check on Kevin Owens, says Sami. Owens sends Sami to the barricade in a DDT. We go to a commercial break. We're back, and Owens hits a backbreaker in the middle of the ring. He stretches Seth across the knee, and Seth is bleeding atop the left eye. Owens drops an elbow to the ribs, then kicks the ribs. Dropkick to the back from Owens. Owens covers for 2. Owens with a right to the gut again to the head. He gets another one across the brow. Owens with a fireman's carry, but Seth elbows out. Drop it to his feet. Headbutt. Right hand chop. Knee from Owens. Sling blade from Rollins. He goes for a suplex, but Owens escapes and drops Seth onto his knee, or tries to. Owens to the top rope. Swanton. Rollins gets his knees up. Owens to the ropes to the outside. Seth hits rope suicide dive, but Owens is there with a right hand. Owens in the ring. Irish whip. Pop up, but Seth lands on his feet. Misses a kick. Owens rolls up. Seth lands on his feet with a kick. Super kick from Owens. Kick from Seth. Owens goes down. Seth to the top rope. Sami's in the ring now, who says he needs to check on Kevin Owens. Seth stands on the top rope. He then steps down and points and yells at Sami. Roll up from Owens for 2. Rollins holds the ropes. Owens tumbles after a run. Seth hits the rope. Suicide dive. He sends Owens into the ring. Seth follows. Stomp. Pin for 2. Sami pulls a leg out from the ref. Sami was hit by a suicide dive that I just talked about, and he wants a disqualification. He yells at the ref that enters the ring. He checks on Owens. Sami points at Seth because that's just what he does. Sami goes full breath on Seth. Seth yells that he's a little slimy something. Seth grabs Sami. Sami calls for a DQ and gets it this time, even though he just called for it but didn't get it the first time. Your winner by disqualification, Kevin Owens. Please don't let this lead to a match. I hate Raw vs. SmackDown matches. That's not a Survivor Series. Seth gives Sami a right hand. He attacks until Corbin comes out to attack and stomps Seth down. Right hand to Seth, another to the face. Corbin rolls to the outside. He grabs a chair, then rolls back into the ring with it. Rollins kicks Corbin, then grabs a chair. Corbin rolls to the outside. Sammy's in the ring. Chair shot to the gut, then back. He starts beating Sammy down with a chair. Seth tosses the chair to the outside and fires up. Seth isn't done as he goes to the outside, rips the referee shirt off. Sammy tosses him back in and hits him with a stomp as he stares down his opponent at Stomping Grounds, Baron Corbin. A very good show tonight, folks. Hopefully they can keep this momentum up with SmackDown Live tomorrow and 205 Live, of course, 205 Live, which is actually an hour of pure wrestling like NXT. Well, folks, that's all I got for you tonight. If I had to rate this show by WWE standards, it'd be a B-. That's what I got for you. Well, hopefully you guys like this video. If you do, comment, leave your thoughts, subscribe. This has been the Attitude Podcast, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Peace.